Hello, and welcome to another of the continuing adventures of Judd. I'm Judd. As dark, foreboding clouds made their way across the skies of Walt Disney World, I made my way up World Drive through the newly repainted Magic Kingdom Toll Plaza to the Polynesian Resort, where this evening I would be joining my good friend Mick and her family for my first dinner at Ohana. I continued up World Drive north and turned onto Seven Seas Drive, crossing over the tram underpass as I drove by the entrance to the Ticket and Transportation Center. Note the buildings there. We'll be seeing them from another view shortly. I only learned a short while ago, to my surprise, that the Poly was one of the original resorts that was opened, along with Fort Wilderness Campgrounds and the Contemporary Resort, on the opening day of the Magic Kingdom, October 1st, 1971. I'd always thought it was only the Contemporary that existed on that date. The rain didn't actually hit me at all until I was in the parking lot at the Poly and unloading my scooter from the trunk, but even then it was only mild sprinkles and I decided not to worry about it, beyond grabbing the cover for the electronic controls of my ECV. I grabbed a couple of shots of the entrance. This is the smoking area and I just love the ash can. Then took the elevator, next to this marvelous carving, up to the second floor to take a loop on the monorail as I had some time to kill. I parked my ECV with the station attendant explaining that I was simply doing a round trip for the fun of it, and boarded the next train that arrived. It was the Aveng-o-rail, and was covered with an overlay of Avenger images, which was cool until I tried shooting through them, and for the most part the camera focused on those instead of the outside, though I did get a decent shot of the new Mad Hatter playground as we approached the Grand Floridian. There I disembarked to wait for the next train, one with a clean window, and the CMs were very cooperative with me as I hung out in the unloading area waiting to shoot the train as it passed. But it can't move until everyone is out of that area, so the driver closed the door for me so I could get the shot and waited patiently as I moved out of the area. Very nice of him. Said he figured I was waiting for the shot. I boarded the next train and we pulled out of Grand Floridian Station.
To those guests who've just joined us, welcome. Our next stop is the Magic Kingdom.
The skies had opened for me once again and I had magnificent lighting for this journey and got some greatly lit shots all around. Here we look across Seven Seas Lagoon at the Contemporary, Bay Lake Tower, and to the left Space Mountain and Cinderella's Castle. Looking back at the Grand Floridian. Now note that bit right at the bottom center, how the edge of the lake gives way, and in this shot the same thing from the other side. What this is the entrance to a canal off the lagoon that is home and storage area for the barges of the Electric Water Parade. That's them there. For orientation, this is a maintenance area to the side of the Magic Kingdom, behind the gate next to the fire station, and that area directly to the right in this picture among the trees is actually the Jungle Cruise. Back to this image, and this is the end of what was originally supposed to be a walk around the entire lagoon, the walk around the world, and it was stopped at this point, I suspect due to practical concerns with crossing the canal that we just looked at. This is the walkway comprised of thousands of hexagonal bricks, including one of my own, commemorating various visits and families and events at Walt Disney World. My own brick is near the beach, just out of the picture to the left. Another beautiful shot of the Contemporary and Bay Lake Tower, and way across the lagoon and back in the woods, the roof of the magnificent Wilderness Lodge. And across the lagoon, a view of the Poly with the obnoxious swan and dolphin once again protruding against policy into view, as they do at Epcot also.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching our station at the entrance to Main Street, USA, gateway to the 7 theme lands of the Magic Kingdom. To our new passengers, we welcome you aboard our Highway in the Sky and hope you've enjoyed the Magic Kingdom.
The official monorail announcements never make mention of one of my favorite views, so, ladies and gentlemen, off to your left, we are now passing the extraordinary Space Mountain in the Magic Kingdom's Tomorrowland. This was the first of the dark enclosed wild mouse type rides that now grace several other Disney parks around the world and take you on an exciting journey through space.
We're now passing one of the newest additions to the Disney Vacation Club, Bay Lake Tower at Disney's Contemporary Resort. Ladies and gentlemen, we're approaching the Grand Canyon Concourse Station. We're now entering Disney's Contemporary Resort. This is Disney's Contemporary Resort. Our next stop will be the Transportation and Ticket Center. To the left is Bay Lake. Nestled on the shores of Bay Lake are Disney's Wilderness Lodge and Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground.
This is World Drive, past where I turned off for the Poly, as it continues on to the Contemporary Resort.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're approaching the Transportation and Ticket Center, which includes Magic Kingdom car and bus parking.
Looking out on the right side of the monorail over to the Poly. Here we are crossing the tops of the buildings at the entrance that I mentioned on the drive-in. And here we are running parallel to the Seven Seas Drive that we used while driving in.
Our next stop is Disney's Polynesian Resort. Inside the Great Ceremonial House, you'll find shopping and dining with a South Seas flavor.
I re-entered on the second level and grabbed this shot of a display in the store just inside. Oh look, I just noticed a couple of hidden Mickeys. Ha! I went over to the dining check-in booth to make sure that Mick and her party had not yet checked in. They hadn't. And then grabbed a shot of this carving in the waiting area. And this view out the back window, looking down toward the pool. You have a little fountain there that flows down into the pool. And the walkway down to the beach where we would later go to watch Wishes over the Magic Kingdom across the lake. Meanwhile, I headed down and just look at that view. Gosh, that's beautiful. Oh, a hammock. Just what I need. I laid down on the hammock and took a look around. There's looking back at the Poly, looking beautiful, and looking over at the Grand Floridian and the construction of the new DVC section. And to the extreme left is the wedding chapel where you can get married. I didn't know if Mick and her crew might be coming over in a boat, so I took a picture of the boat. I couldn't see this. This was a long-range telephoto, so just shot it just in case she might be on it, but it's still a nice picture. Took a plane. Poor people, those poor people are heading away from Orlando. Bye-bye. Hope you had a good vacation. And back here we got the Contemporary viewed over the hill. There's a name for this. There's a little peninsula that sticks out at one end of the beach. I forget the name of it, but it's like Last Chance Peninsula or something like that. Land's End. Might be Land's End. They might call it Land's End. As I relaxed in the hammock, I decided to let Mick know I was there, so I worked at it and finally figured out how to and sent my first ever text message. Poly Beach Hammock. Got a reply shortly. Good place to be. We are on our way. I relaxed a while longer, then headed back into the Poly, up to the second floor, and waited near the check-in podium, but back a ways, thinking I would catch sight of Mick as she entered. But it was Mr. Mick, Jeff, who spotted me first and came over to greet me as Mick checked in at the podium. She came over and I gave her a great hug, then introductions were made all around. I made the 9th member of the party and we were led right into Ohana and to the prime table, the corner table, best location for watching Wishes from the restaurant, but we were way too early in our seating time for that to matter to us. And then, of course, they had to call the chef because I have allergies. So the chef comes out and basically tells me, "Hi, you can't have anything." But did offer to make me some chicken wings, some plain chicken wings, which was fine. This is not a great picture of Mick, but it's a great picture of her daughter, so I included it. I think she looks very beautiful there. And speaking of beautiful, here's her other daughter and her husband, Jeff. Here we are sitting around the table, waiting. And food comes, a bowl of salad. It looked like a pretty small bowl of salad for 8 people, but none of us took very much. And there's my special wings. I also got some hot buns up there, some gluten-free buns and butter, which made me very happy. For some reason, the warm buns and butter at Disney just delight the heck out of me. There was one time that was all I ate. And it should have been all I ate this night. Considering what I actually did eat. What dawned on me when they brought these wings, my normal daily consumption when I have chicken is 6 wings. And that's it. That's all I eat for the day. So I realized these are the appetizers. Everyone else has those things up in the middle there. Those are the flavored wings, the grilled wings that they can have, and poppers, which is some Polynesian version of some Japanese food or something. But anyway, so I realized, those 6 wings are about all I can eat. and this is just the appetizers. We're not looking at dinner yet. And dinner consisted of them. The chef would come around with skewers of meat and dump it on your plate, shrimp or steak, and the steak was phenomenal. If I had known, I would not have eaten anything else. I would have just waited for that steak. Also, you can see by my iced tea there, right up in the top middle, they brought me some specially prepared chicken on a bed of rice, which was good, but again, you know, that would be like a whole day's meal for me. You know, I was just so irritated at the end of all this because all this food was still sitting on my plate, and once it's on my plate, they can't do a thing with it. I mean, and it was untouched. There was steak, there was chicken, my special chicken that nobody else could eat, these other chickens, all this food, and you can't take anything out of there. So basically, you know, I had a couple of chicken wings, a couple pieces of steak, and a couple of shrimp, and that was great, but all this food was wasted. I swear to God, next time I go there, if I ever go there again, I'm bringing a big baggie with me, and I'll sneak the stuff into the baggie. I mean, not to steal stuff from their endless buffet, but just like so I don't have to throw away food that is not going anywhere else, you know? It was just so wasteful. I was sickened by it. Anyway, that was just a little quirk I had there. But actually what's happening at this point, I had gotten up at this point to go because we kept hearing this lady singing, obviously the entertainment, and I'm like, where is she? This place is huge. We're at one end of it, and basically the main part of the restaurant is at the other end of it, and that's where the lady was doing most of her singing. So I went out to find her, and there she is. She's running around singing ukulele songs and stuff and making people happy. Later she came parading around and everyone got to see her. But while I was down there, I suddenly discovered the kitchen, and I had no idea of this. I'd never been in here before. I'd never seen this. So here's the kitchen, and naturally you see those carved things up above. I had to take shots of those. We got the porpoise and the tortoise and an eagle and a fish. And then here's this is it. This is what they do. This is Ohana's. They got these skewers of shrimp and steak and chicken, and they're just on these flame pits. And here's a guy, he's demoing for me. Unfortunately, he's moving too fast for the low light in here, but he's throwing on a few more, a little more steak on the Barbie. And he's throwing it on there, and then he's flaming it up. And you can see on the left there all the shrimp. On the right, we've got the steak and more steak going back on, and it was great stuff. And they just would come around with a skewer of that and just like use a fork to push off hunks of it onto your plate. Here's looking back from the kitchen area towards our table way over there in the corner, back to the table, and Lisa here is doing dueling cameras with me. You can see now dessert has come, and of course I couldn't touch any of that. I don't know what it was, but it had ice cream and a cake looking thing, and you can see in the background my dessert. They had offered me one of those gluten-free brownies or chocolate chip cookies, and I said, come on, give me a break here. I said, go get me one of them fancy desserts from Kona, and that's exactly what they did. And this was gluten-free. This is a cake, a chocolate cake sort of thing with some sauce and goo on it. Very, very good. A fancy dessert from Kona, so that was nice of them to do that instead of dumping the, you know, a prepackaged brownie on a plate. Kudos to them on that. Nice presentation. Okay, here's the lady. She's dancing around now. She's leading a parade of little kids. I didn't hear the announcement, or I would have been in there with them. As you can see, adults are allowed to dance along, or maybe they're with her. I don't know. But she's making a parade around there like they do. Oh, then Mick showed me her 30th. This date was the Epcot 30th. She had been over at Epcot for this. I hadn't. And she's showing me her button. Then we stuck Sean with the bill. And he's still smiling, but he's still got his eyes closed too. Apparently he was attacked by a large flash unit as a small child. And he's digging out his wallet. I saw Mick slip him a credit card. Mick had a nice discount card too that helped out a lot. And there's Lisa posing for me. And then we headed down to the beach to watch Wishes to come true. We had a good old time. It was great. We had a special viewing because it had rained. The electrical water pageant had been held back, so now it was out silently performing its little show as Wishes was going on in the background. So that made for a really special viewing we got of Wishes. And that was how we ended the night. And it was great to see Mick and her family and meet them. Although, for the life of me, her husband and one daughter, I swear to God I've met them before, but I know I can't have. But, I mean, they look like people I know, like more than just as Facebook or internet people. God, we don't even have an internet anymore. All we have is Facebook. But anyways, it was great seeing Mick again and had a good time, and dinner at Ohana's was great. It was a great day, and we got a great way to end it with Wishes behind the electrical water pageant. Hookah chaka, hookah, hookah, hookah chaka, hookah, hookah, hookah chaka, hookah, hookah, hookah chaka.
Time